Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to study a Moments chapter, Ishwaran the Storyteller. For standard 9th, Ishwaran the Storyteller is written by R.K. Lakshman. So let's start about the author R.K. Lakshman. Rajapuram Krishnaswamy Iyer Lakshman. He was born in Mysore on 24th October in 1921 and died on January 26, 2015. He was an Indian cartoonist, illustrator, and humorist. And here before you it is given what is humorist: a person who acts, speaks, or writes in a humorous way, a person with a good sense of humor and active sense of humor. And what is illustrator? Here is an artist who specializes in enhancing writing by providing a visual representation that corresponds to the content of the associated text or idea. Also he is best known for his creation, The Common Man. So let's start to read the chapter Ishwaran the Storyteller. The story was narrated to Ganesh by a young man, Mahendra by name. So the title of this chapter, Ishwaran the Storyteller, tells us that this story is about Ishwaran, and he is called the storyteller because as a storytelling is an art, right? So he is a good at it. Ishwaran uses special effects, does voice modulations, uses his body language to make the story realistic so that the listener, and who is here listener, Mahendra, gets attracted and captivated in this story. So here the writer wants to highlight this quality of Ishwaran, and that he was good at telling stories that they appeared to be real, right? And his stories were a source of entertainment for Mahendra. So let's move to the detailed explanation of this chapter. The story was narrated to Ganesh by a young man, Mahendra by name. So what was the young man's name here? Mahendra. He was a junior supervisor in a firm which offered on hire supervisors at various types of construction sites, factories, bridges, dams, and so on. Mahendra's job was to keep an eye on activities at the work site. So here Mahendra narrated a story about his cook Ishwaran to Ganesh. Mahendra worked as a junior supervisor in a company which provided junior supervisors to various constructions companies on rent. He got posted at different sites like factories, bridges, and dams which were under construction. So, what was the Mahendra's work? Mahendra's work here was to keep an eye on all the workers at the site. He had to keep moving from place to place every now and then and is ordered by his head office from a coal mining area to a railway bridge construction site, and from there after a few months to a chemical plants which was coming up somewhere. He got posted at different sites like factories, bridges, and dams which were under construction. Mahendra's work was to keep an eye on all the workers at the site. He had to change places often and worked at various places like a coal mine, railway bridges construction site, and the construction site of a chemical plants. Go to next paragraph. He was a bachelor. His needs were simple and was able to adjust himself to all kinds of odds conditions, whether it was an ill-equipped circuit house or a makeshift canvas tent in the middle of a stone quarry. But one asset he had was his cook. And what was the name of the cook? Ishwaran. A bachelor means a person who is unmarried, and makeshift means temporary, and query means mine. Asset here it means advantage. So as Mahendra was unmarried, he did not have a family, he was able to live in these temporary quarters provided at the construction site, and he adjusted well in the circuit houses which did not provide the basic amendment, the basic facilities, or even the tent which were temporary in nature, right? Mahendra had an advantage. He was accompanied by his cook Ishwaran. So Ishwaran was very close to Mahendra and accompanied with him everywhere, right? The cook Ishwaran was quite attached to Mahendra and followed him uncomplainingly wherever he was posted. He cooked for Mahendra, washed his clothes, and chatted away with his master at night. He could weave out endless stories and anecdotes on varied subjects. So Ishwaran was very close to Mahendra and accompanied him everywhere. He did not complain about tough conditions in which he had to live. He cooked food for him, washed his clothes, and gave him company by talking to him at night. Ishwaran had a quality that he was good at telling stories, and he entertained Mahendra with his stories which were based on different subjects. Okay, right? Next paragraph. Ishwaran also had an amazing capacity to produce vegetables and cooking ingredients seemingly out of nowhere. In the middle of a desolate landscape with no shops visible for miles around, he would miraculously conjure up the most delicious dishes made with fresh vegetables within an hour of arriving at Jink Sheet Shelter at the new workplace. So here desolate means empty, uninhabited. Conjure up means to gather or create with magic. And Jink Sheet Shelter here a temporary place to live with a roof made of metallic sheet. So Mahindra tells Ganesh that Ishwaran was a great cook. Whenever they shifted to a new location, he would gather all the vegetables and other ingredients required by him to cook. In no time, without taking time, he make a delicious food. As they lived at places which was not inhabited by many people, in temporary shelter with roofs made of metallic sheet, it seemed as if he would do some magic and gather all the ingredient out of nowhere. Mahindra is telling the qualities of Ishwaran. Mahindra would be early in the morning and leave for work after breakfast, carrying some prepared food with him. Meanwhile, Ishwaran would tidy up the shed, wash the cloth, and have a leisurely bath, pouring several buckets of water over on his head, muttering a prayer all the while. So, yeah, muttering means speaking in a low voice. So, Mahindra would wake up early in the morning, get ready, and leave for work after eating his breakfast. Okay, he would carry his lunch along with him. After he left, Ishwaran would clean their living place, wash Mahindra's cloth, and have a nice bath. He would take many buckets of water and pour water on his head while mumbling a prayer. Move to next paragraph. It would be lunchtime by then. After eating, he would read for a while before dozing off. The book was usually some popular Tamil thriller running to hundreds of pages. Its imaginative description and narrative flourishes would hold Ishwaran in thrall. Here, dozing off means falling asleep. Narrative flourishes means detailed descriptions, and enthrall means the state of being in someone's power. After that, he would eat his lunch and read his favorite book in Tamil language. Ishwaran would get carried away with the details and descriptions given in the book that he read. Then he would go off to sleep. His own descriptions were greatly influenced by the Tamil authors that he read. When he was narrating even the smallest of incidents, he would try to work in suspense and a surprise ending into the account. For example, instead of saying that he had come across an uprooted tree on the highway, he would say that with the eyebrows suitably arched and hand held out in a dramatic gesture. So arched means here curved, and gesture means a movement of hands for head to indicate something. So as Ishwaran read stories with detailed descriptions, so he narrated them in the same way, and Mahendra recollected that he would narrate even a small incident with a lot of suspense and surprises, which made it very interesting for the listener. His own description was greatly influenced by the Tamil authors as he read, because his book that he read, it was of the Tamil author. So he would narrate even a small incidents with a lot of suspense and surprise which made it very interesting for the listener. For example, instead of saying that he had to come across an uprooted tree on the highway, he would say with eyebrows suitably arched and hand held out in a dramatic gesture, the road was deserted and was all alone. Then he gives an example of instead of saying that he was walking down the highway and came across a tree which had broken and had fallen on the road. And this road was deserted. No one was going or coming. This was lonely place. Ishwaran would use his facial expression and bodily gesture to narrate it. Suddenly I spotted something that looked like an enormous bussy beast lying sprawled across the road. I was half inclined to turn and go back, but as I came closer I saw that it was a fallen tree. With its dry branches spread out, Mahendra would stretch himself back in his canvas chair and listen to Ishwaran's tale uncritically. He would say that the road was empty and he was all alone. And this would create suspense in listeners' minds. Then he would say that all of a sudden he saw that a huge beast was lying across the road. As he walked ahead, his mind was telling him to turn and go back. As he reached closer, he saw that it was a tree that had fallen and was lying on the road. The branches of the tree had spread out and seemed as if it was a huge beast. Mahendra says that this talent of Ishwaran made the simple story very interesting and it captivated him. Although he knew that some of the stories were not true, but the way in which Ishwaran narrated them was so interesting that Mahendra would not say anything and listened him quietly without criticize. Go to next paragraph. The place I come from is famous for timber. Ishwaran would begin. There was a richly wooded forest all around. The logs are hauled on to the lorries by elephants. They were huge, well-fed beasts. When they turn wild, even the most experienced Mahout is not able to control them. After this prologue, Ishwaran would launch into an elaborate anecdote involving an elephant. Timber means here wood that had been processed for commercial purpose. Hauled means transported. And prologue means here an introductory speech. Elaborate means detailed. So let's explain this paragraph. Mahendra recollects another story told by Ishwaran. Ishwaran said that his native village was surrounded by a huge forest which was full of trees, okay? And the huge logs of timber were sold for commercial purpose, right? They were transported onto the vehicle by elephants and they were huge elephants as if they became mad. And if they became mad, they would get out of control and the Mahout would not be able to tame them. Here would not be able to control them. And this introductory session was followed by a detailed story involving an elephant, right? One day Tusker escaped from the timber yard and began to roam about, stamping on the bushes, tearing up wild creepers and breaking branches at will. You know, sir, how an elephant behaves when it goes mad. Ishwaran would get so caught up in the excitement of his own story that he would get up from the floor and jump about, stamping his feet in emulation of the mad elephant. Here, tusker means an elephant, roam about means move around, stamping means hitting with force, and emulation means effort to match or surpass a person by imitating or copying. So the story was narrated as follows. One day an elephant escaped from the timber yard and roamed around the forest. It stepped on the bushes and crushed them, tore the creepers plant and broke branches of trees which came in its way. So the branches of the tree that came in its ways had been broken by the elephant. Ishwaran asked Mahendra whether he knew how a mad elephant behaved. So in order to make his story more effective, Ishwaran stood up and jumped around the place, hitting his foot on the ground in order to copy the action of the mad elephant. Here in this paragraph, Ishwaran has tried to show his own bravery in an effective way. The elephant reached the outskirts of our town, breaking the fences down like matchsticks. He would continue. He came into the main road and smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots, and clothes. People ran helter skelter in panic. The elephant now entered in a school ground where children were playing, breaking through the bricks wall. All the boys ran into the classroom and shut the doors tight. The beast grunted and wandered about, pulling out the football goal post, tearing down the volleyball net, kicking and flattering the drum kept for water and uprooting the shrubs. So here outskirt means outer area, helter skelter means here and there, and panic means sudden fear. Grunted here means make a loud sound. So as the elephant reached the outer boundary of their town, it broke the fences, and the fences seemed as if they were like matchsticks for the huge elephant, right? The elephant reached the main road and broke all the stalls selling different things like fruits, mud pots, and clothes. Okay, the people were taken unaware and so they ran here and there. They all became scared. Then it broke the wall of a school and entered the ground where the students were playing. All the students ran back into their classrooms and closed the door. The elephant made loud noises and roamed around in the school ground. It broke the goal post in the football ground, tore the net that had been put up in the volleyball court, and stepped on the water drum and broke it and torn many plants as well, right? Meanwhile, all the teachers had climbed up to the terrace of the school building. From there, they helplessly watched the predations of the elephant. There was not a soul below on the ground. The streets were empty as if the inhabitant of the entire town had suddenly disappeared. Here, grunted means make a loud sound, and depredations means attack which are made to destroy something. The teachers had climbed onto the roof of the school building and watched helplessly as the elephant destroyed the school property. And there was not even a single person to be seen around. So all the streets of the town were empty as all the people were scared of the mad elephant. Right? I was studying in the junior class at that time and was watching the whole drama from the rooftop. I don't know what came over me suddenly. I grabbed a cane from the hands of one of the teachers and ran down the stairs and into the open. The elephant grunted and menacingly swung a branch of a tree which it held in its trunk. It stamped its feet, kicking up a lot of mud and dust. It looked frightening. So, at the time of the incident, Ishwaran was studying in one of the junior classes in the school. He was watching the elephant from the rooftop. Suddenly, he took the stick from one of the teachers and ran downstairs toward the school ground. The elephant made a loud noise when he saw a small boy approaching it. It lifted a branch of a tree in its trunk, hit its foot on the ground, which threw a lot of mud and dust in the air. The elephant was threatening Ishwaran, but the boy was not afraid of. Yeah, it looked frightening. So the elephant was threatening Ishwaran, but the boy was not afraid of it. So students, here let me stop this story, and remaining part of the chapter will be continued in the next part. So let to be continued here. Thank you all of you. Study well. Keep learning.